Well, good morning, everyone. Hello, we're about to start. As usual, we have to go through our first name and an answer to one of my very difficult questions. The question for today is, I prefer dark chocolate or light chocolate, or I hate chocolate. One word. You can't go into the full explanation of why, just one word. Dark, light, or hate. Those are three lovely words. And I'll start on this far side of the room with you, David.
David Kusuma. I like both dark and light chocolate.
That's one answer.
One
Okay.
single word.
Well, I know I'm.
And white chocolate's not included.
No,
That's
no,
not chocolate.
that's not really chocolate.
Linda Kusuma, dark.
Okay,
Sandy Gear, both.
both. Okay. Behind you is hi.
Harriet Linville, absolute dark, dark.
No question there.
John McDonald, dark.
In the back.
Bruce Nesbitt, dark.
All right, dark's winning. Next.
Mary Ann, Rudy, dark.
Okay.
Fred.
Fred.
Okay, Fred, detest.
That's like, I think that's like hate. Okay, got it. In the in front.
Paul, and
Both. Okay.
Gary Simonson, dark.
Okay.
Alan Oliver, dark. Bill Donahue, dark.
Roxanne Donahue, dark.
Mary Frances Beamer, dark.
Danielle, dark.
Dark.
Well, I'm voting light. Just to be obstinate. I think I should have said both. I'm well known for eating anything in the candy department. Well, thank you all. And in the wilds of Minnesota, Rebecca, your name and your chocolate decision.
Didn't mute myself. Rebecca Akporaye, definitely dark.
All right. Jan, are you weighing in on chocolate today?
Yes. My answer is milk. And there's also someone just joined the Zoom who might need to know the question.
The question is whether you like dark, light, or hate chocolate. Those are the choices.
Thank you. I kind of, it was clear. Dark. Well, both, but anyway, I'm blanking back out.
I never met a piece of chocolate I didn't like. Okay, well, thank you all. We have a very special time together today with a man I've described in the email as one of Trinity's true Renaissance men. I'm not sure he agreed with. I didn't ask him if it was okay, but a Renaissance person to me is someone that has talent in more than one discipline, that shares that talent with many, many people. And boy, that's you, sir.
The problem with Renaissance man is that makes me 400 years old.
Well,
I
there
don't
is
know how I
that. We have to look at our age. That's very true. And Randall's going to talk about a project he's been working on for a little while and explain it in the way that one of the best ways to find out a little bit more about Randall before I make him do the elevator speech that I'm famous for. I'm going to let you hear the first part of a film that was created specifically for this event that he has going on, and we'll talk about that. But let's see now. It says share screen. I've got instructions here. We'll see how that goes. That.
Well, he's looking, I'll explain about the film. There are 40 paintings in the film, and this is a film with all 40 paintings with original music by a Grammy-winning composer.
Everybody see it here? Who's that? I think this is where I'm going to pause it. Okay, and I need to, what?
On the screen where you see the red button at the top, that's the first stop. in the
Oh, thank you. We'll go back to this. Well, if that's not an introduction elevator speech, I've never heard one. One better. Thanks, Daniel. Randall, to take 20 years of your life and put it on hold or perhaps gone forever and have another 20 years in another art form. How did you discover that art was going to work for you?
It just happened.
Okay.
So I made this transition. Music was everything to me,
Yeah.
and that disappeared. And so I had to make a fork in the road. I had to take a different direction, and this art making just kind of fell into my lap. I just started taking a few art classes. I'd always been interested in art history in college, and
but never design, drawing, or painting.
no, I had never done any studio art. So you know, I had learned to play the violin, and I thought, after taking some of these few classes, that if I apply the basic principles of learning how to play a violin, which is one of the most complicated of all human endeavors, if I could do that, why could I not do art? So I kind of applied that approach of fundamentals, study with very talented people, reading, now with the internet, videos galore, and over time, that's the key to mastering.
Wasn't
something.
overnight.
Your 10,000 hours, you do it over time, step by step, every day. And so I just applied those principles that I already had experienced, and it's basically as simple as that.
Well, the most remarkable thing is that the music came back to some extent. I don't think you're ready to do
That was
organ symphony
no.
rehearsals every day of the week for the rest of your life. No.
No, that was kind of the miracle that happened, and part of the joy of the whole thing. So so that's
Was it a surprise? Did it just surprise you all of a sudden? I think I can do
yeah,
this again.
absolutely, absolutely. I never thought I would play music again. So
And this time is it more violin than viola? I've only seen you play the violin.
well, I was trained as a violinist, and I went to college as a violinist, and then switched to viola. I thought at the time there were more opportunities for violist.
Well, it's
And
because that darn staff is so hard to read. Anyone, I don't know if any of you have tried that, but it is not easy.
yeah. So, but I was trained as a violinist, and my heart is in violin. And of course, the greatest repertoire for stringed instruments is clearly the violin. So,
I first realized that Randall was playing beautiful music when I was working in our Wednesday lunches, and this guy comes in and joins the pianist and provides incredibly wonderful music for our guests that are there on, that used to be there on Wednesday and hopefully will be again. It calms the soul, if you know what I mean, with our pianist. So you decided at some point in the last, how many years has this project been in work?
well, I tell people sort of flippantly, my whole life. I mean, because I would not have been doing this if I hadn't had a career in
That's
music.
true.
But basically, I'd say 5 years. And this was one of the first paintings. She is a violinist in the Oregon Symphony, a principal violinist. And before I forget, this beautiful woman, Inez, is going to be giving a recital at the gallery with our esteemed Bruce Neswick in the back. And the key piece will be the Albinoni Adagio for violin and pipe organ. It's one of the most gorgeous pieces of music
And
ever
there's
written.
not thousands of pieces in the repertoire today for organ, and we don't see organ and violin all that often.
No,
See a
but
lot of
it's a
cello,
beautiful
yeah.
combination, I think.
Oh,
So
I'm
I'm
excited.
thrilled to death. So that's March 4th at 7 p.m. It's a short concert, no intermission, followed by a reception amongst the 40
And let's
paintings.
speak briefly about what First Congregational Church has that to host these kinds of things. There was an actual gallery, correct? that-
Oh, it's one of the oldest galleries in Portland, called the Art Reach Gallery. And it's right across from the Portland Art Museum and right next to this Oregon Symphony Concert Hall. So it's a perfect venue. It's part of the 7x7 churches. They're
who we had their work here during the pandemic, I think, as
Yes.
I recall.
Yeah, so it's the only consortium of church art galleries in the United States. And we meet monthly and we organize exhibits on social justice themes and so forth, and we share information. But this is one of the 7x7 churches. And we all know it. It's the one with the big, tall, white Venetian tower on the
On
parking
the
lots.
top, yes.
So, and because of the pandemic, we had a big opening, but because of the pandemic, the next day the gallery was closed.
The
However,
resurgence of
yeah,
the
so
pandemic.
it will open again, and it is open every Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I'll be there every Friday through March. So
That's being able to have the gallery available for people like that on a daily basis is something we've yet to achieve here with our art program, but who knows where that's going, that issue. Well, I think the next thing I want to do is let people see, am I going to see all 40 of them?
yes,
Okay, you're going to see all 40 of them in nine
this is with-
minutes or 8 minutes or something.
yeah,
like
and
that.
this is with original music.
Oh, tell
by
us about
a-
that.
Yeah. For my composer painting, she needed, during the pandemic was a creative period for a lot of artists. And so she wrote music for an album that is getting ready to come out. She needed a CD cover. So instead of payment, we agreed that I would do the CD cover and she would write music for this film. So she wrote music for every painting, every instrument of the orchestra into a cohesive whole. And she's won a Grammy for this type of music. And right now she's in Phoenix, Arizona, preparing the choir for Andre Bocelli, who's coming to Phoenix. So she's a busy lady, and I was so lucky to have her write this music. So that's the background.
That's the back there. Let's see if I. Spacebar. Spacebar, come on. Why did I let Daniel go? It's the right place. Right?
Yeah.
Better?
20th Street.
Wow. There's a very important quote coming up here. I think another hand is in there for that one. Let's see now if I can get us back to. So Randall, you know, when I was in elementary school, I suppose, we would hear about the different instruments in the orchestra with Peter and the Wolf every year.
That's right.
I think this would be a lot more fun than Peter and the Wolf. What do y'all think? Let's get this out into the education world. Well, I think that putting together a body like a work like this isn't something that happens every day. What's next?
What's next? I don't know, but I couldn't do this exhibit of paintings of musicians. And by the way, these are musicians from around the world. They're not models. These are professional musicians. We have the violinist from Kiev, Russia. The saxophonist is a soloist based in Tokyo and New York City, travels doing solo saxophone, not jazz, but classical. The flutist is played in Carnegie Hall. The pianist was a finalist in the Van Glyvern piano competition. A lot of the musicians play in major orchestras around the world. And I could go on and on.
You did the
But
work from photos then for their
well,
their
in some
faces?
cases, yeah. In some cases, the musicians had
We're in
sessions here in Portland,
Yeah.
but then the pandemic hit, and what could I do?
Yeah.
So I would have ideas in my mind for compositions, and I would ask for reference from these folks, and then I'd create the paintings. But I couldn't have an exhibit of paintings of musicians on the wall without music. And so for
No.
the opening, we had about 10 of the musicians in paintings performing. And then Inez and I want Bruce to come and play, which he's going to do. And then on the label of every painting, there's a QR code that you can click with your phone and hear the musician playing.
Oh, wow.
And of course, there's the film with music. So I couldn't have an exhibit without music.
It seems to me like I would need a catalog to really understand all this. Is such a thing available? That sounds.
Can you believe this guy? So there is a catalog, and it has all the paintings. Oh, and I neglected to mention, one of the core parts of the exhibit is every painting has original haiku written to each painting by a Malaysian poet who's quite well known. And so the book are the paintings with original haiku on the other side. Yeah.
And attributing to which artist is?
Christina Chin. Is
No,
her
the artist who I'm seeing as the subject of the portrait.
That's right. That's right.
And is that something I could buy today from you
Well,
while
if you'd
you're
like,
sitting here?
the public, it's published down in a group down in LA. So the book is $20, but for the ones today, I'm donating the usual portion. If we sell a painting in the gallery, it will go to the Arts Commission for children's programs. So a portion of the book sales.
Well,
We'll go for
we'll
that,
join
yeah.
that stream. How
Yes.
wonderful. That sounds great. I hope you brought enough books. We'll see about that. Is it available for purchase any other way than to go to the gallery?
Right now, people just contact me and
Email
yeah. But
Randall
the best thing is to go to the gallery, which I encourage everybody to
to
do.
see it. I think that you got an idea from music and haiku and original paintings and artists around the world, why I call him a Renaissance man. I stand by my position on that. It would take some people 400 years to do all you've done and evidently the last 5, but it's certainly, and in the middle of the pandemic, for heaven's sake. So I saw roses on a lot of the photos. Was that by design or just, I thought maybe Rose City was that you were thinking.
Well, yeah. And the thing is that classical musicians, they don't get the attention of pop musicians, right? Lady Gaga, Adele, Celine Dion, they perform in music videos and live venues, and you know, the fashion, lighting, sensuality, all these things are part of the package for pop. So what I wanted to do was make classical musicians cool. So I
think that's
so I put, you know, primarily women in beautiful dresses and fashion and yeah,
or
accessories,
lack
roses,
of beautiful
whatever.
dresses. No.
Yeah, so that was kind of, I wanted to, you know, show classical musicians who they really are. Because when you go to an Oregon Symphony concert, you see this sea of black on the stage. Now, there's a reason for that. But that being said, you know, I wanted to
You don't
present
get the
them in a different way.
personality. Yeah, you see it.
Yeah.
I love the one where it looks so much like a current pandemic where the auditorium had no people in it.
Yeah, that was my clarinet painting, and she's a clarinetist in the Eugene Symphony and Mozart chamber players. And it's set in the Holt Center for the Performing Arts in Eugene, the concert hall.
Okay.
And so I thought, yeah, she's giving a recital and there's no one in the audience. It's pandemic concert, right?
It reminds us of that at least. Well, the other part of Randall that has been for a few years and has just recently changed to my new best friend, Rebecca Acaporia, is the Arts Commission here at Trinity. You were the chair along with
Jonathan Tamez for a couple of years.
Yeah. And particularly, you've been the chair during the pandemic, trying to put together shows in a place that no one can see them, in a sense, for a while there. The Arts Commission, is this something that you have to prove your talent to become a member of the Arts Commission, or how does that work?
In fact, we would like non-artists who are interested in the arts to be a part of the Arts Commission because, you know, it takes a village. And yeah, it's nice to have artists, but we have plenty of artists. We need non-artists who have accounting skills, envisioning skills, planning skills, and those sorts
Putting
of
up exhibit skills.
putting out
Yeah.
exhibits, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the Music Commission here is extraordinary. We have an extraordinary arts program for the 4 years that I was either co-chair or chair. We did 7 exhibits a year. 4 times 7 is 28 exhibits.
That's a lot.
And these are exhibits from around the world. And I want to thank Alan Oliver here. He was my mentor, and I learned a lot from Alan, and he's still very involved. So thank you, Alan.
He's busy pouring acrylic at the moment, but that goes on. Rebecca, is there anything you want to say to us as the new chair about people joining the Arts Commission? We don't see you.
Let me get myself on here.
you
There we
go.
go. Well, first, I really want to thank Randall and everyone else who's worked on the Art Commission in the past. And what a wonderful, incredible foundation that they have laid as far as how art is part of the Trinity Cathedral. And I am going to work my hardest trying to carry that vision forward. And I would love to have people who have always said, man, it would be so cool if, and to stop by the commission meetings and see, what we can pull together, because I think there is so much talent at Trinity. I've been involved in exhibits since I moved here about 13 years ago. And I've met a lot of the artists at Trinity and all of the folks that have come to see art at Trinity. And it's just, oh, what a wonderful resource we have. And so
how do we email you, Rebecca, if we're interested in finding out when the next meeting is or want to be part of it? But is there
Sure.
an email?
It's a very long email.
Oh dear, we'll put it
yeah.
in the chat.
We will. It's my first name, last name at Gmail, but I will put it in the chat. And for people who are there, I can spell it out for you if anybody's interested. It's RebeccaPoriaye@gmail.com.
Thanks for
My last name, Rebecca works, believe me, but my last name is Akporiaye. So you just say everything.
And all of that is at Gmail. So
Yeah, it is.
keep that available. Thank
Yeah.
you for joining us today from 4 degrees Minnesota.
Well, beautiful presentation, Randall. That was I can tell you that I wasn't sitting in the room with you, but I felt every emotion over here. So it transposed very well.
Deep beauty, as you mentioned, Rebecca, has been a part of the Trinity. I don't think we call it core values, that it's part of our, along with the intellectual and all, deep beauty has been, I think, as someone involved in welcoming newcomers, has been one of the biggest draws we have for people finding their way into our faith and into this congregation and church. So keep up the good work is all I can say. At this point, I will open to the floor, and we have a great floor today. Let's see if anybody has some questions of Randall while you're here. There's.
Yeah, I'll start. Randall, will you give us a quick lesson on the layers involved with your art piece that are designed to achieve what? Now, when Bill says layers, I'm thinking of the technical way that I create a painting.
Mhm.
So is that what you're getting at? Yeah, okay. So I've probably talked to you about this ad nauseum. So I teach this stuff, and I teach at Oregon Society of Artists, just a couple of blocks up the hill. And I teach Renaissance and Baroque painting. What is Renaissance and Baroque painting? It's a style of painting, yes, but the way that the paintings are created is in layers. So generally speaking, there's a charcoal drawing underneath. And then on top of that, there's a monochromatic painting of just brown and white paint. And you can see these paintings in museums. There's the famous Leonardo da Vinci Madonna of the Rocks. That's an underpainting, worth about $100 million, I might add. At any rate, so you build a painting in layers, in stages. And then on top of that brown and white, think of a sepia tone or even a black and white photograph. Once you have the drawing and the lighting and the composition and so forth, you have a roadmap to put color over the top. So then you add layers and layers of color over the top. Some Rembrandts have 50 layers of color paint on top. So that's how I create my paintings, and that's what I teach. The other way of painting is called alla prima, where you mix the colors on the palette or the canvas and you apply directly. And that is just as valid, and I love that style of painting as well. But this painting is done in several layers.
So I can X-ray, is it X-ray, or there's a way of seeing the layers technically, right? They do that with some of the great classical.
Yeah, and there's a musical analogy. You know, a lot of composers, they don't just write a symphony for all the instruments of the orchestra for 80 musicians to play. Oftentimes it's a piano reduction score with just a bass line and a treble line, 2 staves that we all see in our hymnal. And then when you get that structure of rhythm, harmony, melody, then you orchestrate, which is basically like painting. Orchestration is basically creating colors with combinations of instruments, whether it be a string section, a brass section, or an oboe and a clarinet creates a certain color, right? So the music and art analogies are there 100%, and I use them all the time, much to the dismay of my students. I talk about music all the time when I teach
I don't
painting.
think that's bad at all. We're talking about oil painting as opposed to say watercolor, which doesn't have all those steps necessarily. You don't,
Yeah.
well, you can't layer in the same way as you're talking about.
Well, actually, watercolor is a type of a layering, but it's kind of in reverse, because with a watercolor, the lightest lights are the canvas showing through. So you have to preserve these. You have to preserve these lights to show through. So it's transparent layering, basically.
Have you tried any watercolors lately?
Well, I have, but
Your heart's in
I mean,
in,
it takes a lifetime to perfect any art
any of it.
medium. Yeah.
Well, keep trying. That's good. Anyone else got some questions back here? I don't mean to have my back to you.
You work in oils?
Yes,
Acrylics? No.
I could do you can do this in acrylics as well.
But oils are richer color.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. It's just I like oils because they're simpler. You can edit very easily with oils. You can with acrylics too, but with oils, if you don't like it, you scrape it off and you repaint, or you let it dry and paint over the whole thing. I mean, it's just highly editable. Watercolors are a little harder to edit, I would say. And I think it's a harder form of painting to do, watercolors.
Anyone else here today? You see any questions back there?
I'll ask one additional question.
Okay.
Why does the skin on that woman glow?
Well, yeah, it basically, I would say like music, you have these different layers of sound. And then you have, usually in the melody, you want a focus. You want to focus on something. So with paintings, you have lights and darks and everything in between. And in a few strategic places, very subtly, I add more intensity, more chroma or intensity of color in certain places. Not everywhere, because it's everywhere. It's pop art, which is, I love pop art, but that's a different kind of art. So I'm kind of strategic about where I put these very intense and lighter values, and then they kind of stand out.
Is that the last thing you do?
Yeah, generally speaking, yeah. At the very end, I reinforce the darks and I bump up the lights, and that kind of, it's like those of us in the room who are old enough to remember stereos where you adjust the knobs, the treble and bass. That's what I'm doing with painting.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
You have really made it clear how music has informed your art, for sure. That's fascinating. Any other questions? Alan?
In the group of paintings that we saw, there was one that really caught my eye in being a slightly different style. I think it was one of the piano pieces that was more hard-edged and illustrational.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I don't know. I mean, as painters evolve, they generally get looser and less controlled and everything. And so that's more of illustration style. And yeah, every painting that I did of this series was different. Yeah.
they've kept to the theme, but were differently executed. to
Yeah,
some
and I didn't
extent.
want them all to be the same.
Oh, no.
No.
Have you sold any of them?
But these are not for sale because this exhibit's traveling.
Ah,
Yeah, because there's so many components. I couldn't.
pull one out now.
No, no. So, Jean-Marie.
Thank you. What a lovely everything. I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, and I think I've even asked you over the years. We've known each other, but it's just for whatever. Any influence of your namesake Vermeer?
Oh, well,
Oh,
it's funny when I meet people, people that I don't know, like at a bank or something, they say, "Oh, how do you pronounce your name?" I say, "Oh, Randall Vemer," because I kind of like putting on that hat. People that I do know, I don't say that.
Oh, I love it.
So, no, I love Vermeer. And, you know, he only painted like 50 paintings that we have. He probably painted hundreds, but we only have a few left. And again, it's this layered approach, and it's all about light, you know, because form emerges out of darkness. You know, you open your closet and you see your clothes in the dark. There's not a lot of intensity of color, and the edges are all soft and low intensity light. And then you shine a light in the closet or turn the light on and everything just comes alive. So that's what Vermeer is doing. He's creating, and Caravaggio too. He has extreme darks and then extreme lights that come out of that. And that's where you get drama and contrast.
So two of your inspirational
Yeah.
artists of
Definitely.
history. Okay, very good. Great question. Thanks, Alan.
Just to finish, Vermeer used camera obscura.
Right.
Did you ever try that?
I've studied it and I've seen it, but you know, you can create your own camera obscura with a shoebox in a
Right,
pinhole.
exactly.
Yeah. So,
And then Da Vinci he used sfumato, which is the opposite of Caravaggio with the
Right.
sharp
right,
differences.
right.
But you seem to go seamlessly from one end, sfumato,
Well, it's
to the other, just beautifully.
it's a technique, you know, it's just art principles. So yeah, there are hard edges like this, the edge of this violin, because a violin is wood, right? And it's sharp edges. On the other hand, clothing has soft edges, right? So, and hair is soft edges. So you just you're turning the knobs and you're just manipulating. And this is all an illusion. This is not real. This is, you look at a violinist and you think that's a person holding a violin in space, but it's just a bunch of shapes on a flat two-dimensional piece of paper. So this is fake out. Music is the same thing. It's just a bunch of tones put together that in a way that memory and expectation work, that it makes sense to us, but it's all abstract.
At Inez's concert, is she planning to wear a bit more clothing? Do you know? Or
Oh, Bill.
just wondered. I'm sort of old fashioned that way.
This woman is fascinating. She is from Venezuela. And you know, things are not very nice in Venezuela these days. And she had family stuck there. And for this concert, I'll mention, you know, I love art in churches. I mean, that's why I love Trinity. It's in a spiritual context. We're not a commercial art gallery, right? And so this concert is taking place in a church, and it's for a cause. It's for a group in Portland called Venezuela Voices in Oregon, and it helps refugees from Venezuela who have escaped that dictatorship, that awful dictatorship, who have, you know, lucky enough to have come here, but they need help. So all proceeds, first of all, it's a free concert, but there'll be a basket if people want to drop a couple of dollars, and then all the books at the gallery, all proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to this cause.
That night.
Yeah. So she's Venezuelan, and that's the tie-in for that concert. So I don't know what she'll be wearing, Bill. You'll have to come and see. And
I don't know what Bruce is going to wear either.
We'll have to talk about that, Bruce. Oh, and I want to mention one of these organ paintings, the title of it is Fuga Sopra il Magnificat. And I heard Bruce play this piece 3 months ago, a couple of months ago, and it just ripped my heart out. It's so beautiful. So the tie-in is he's playing the title of that painting, and he's playing it on the program. So
Excellent.
you can't miss it.
Now, I want to, is that actual, were you thinking about an actual piece of music as you?
No, those are just little specks on
Specs on
stabs, and
staff.
I'm
Okay.
faking you out. Yeah.
Faking me out there, okay. Anyone else before we?
Yes,
Oh,
I've had my hand
Jan.
up for a while.
Yes, go ahead, Jan.
Yes, so my question is, you said the gallery's open on Fridays. Is it open on any other days? Because some of us have like set work schedules and.
Well,
day.
it's open every day from 10
Oh, good.
to 2, but temporarily because of this surge, it's been closed. But I think it's probably going to open any
soon,
day now.
yeah.
So the
Okay.
best thing to do is to go to the Art Reach Gallery or First Congregational Church website and see their hours. But irregardless, it will be open every Friday, basically, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for that 3-hour window.
And then a follow-up question, other than the gallery, you said the program is also available directly from you, the catalog?
If she wanted to get the catalog, you can get it.
Oh, at the
She-
gallery.
Or
Yes.
from you, through you.
Oh, sure, or through me. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I
Delivery
also
to
want-
Trinity.
Yeah.
I also want one for the Trinity Library to have in the art section in the library.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Good to see that happens.
Yeah. Okay, Janet.
I was gonna ask about hours too.
Yeah. Okay.
10 to 2, okay.
Yeah, this pandemic has just wreaked havoc on the art world. Galleries are closing all the time, and they were anyway. But it's tough, and a lot of it's migrated digitally. They're digital art galleries, which is fine.
It hasn't been great on the music world initially either. Finally, it looks like the symphony is back and
Yeah.
survived, but
Right,
a challenge for sure.
big challenge. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Do
Ellen.
you have concrete plans of where it's going to travel to next?
Well, I'm talking to people, and I can't say right now, but there's some exciting possible venues.
Good.
So,
Good.
but that's a tough thing to,
Yeah,
you
no, it's a lot of work to put together the exhibit itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Packing all those paintings into nice crates. Huh?
That's right. That's right.
Well, I think, again, a round of applause for our guests today. I really have enjoyed this time with you. Thank you very much. With that, I will end our time together.